growing up as a kid, yeah. All a nigga wanna have was a Burberry scarf and $3 in my pocket. Instead I got beat with a switch, but I don't give a fuck, but it's on my body. Scars all up on me, but I run around from.
How good would the Baltimore Ravens offense be going into the 2020 NFL season? When it comes to the Baltimore Ravens offense, a lot of people this offseason have been saying that the Ravens are going to have a drop-off offensively. Now, I don't really think I agree with that, because when you look at Greg Roman is coming back as the offensive coordinator for another year where he gets to coach and continue to develop Lamar Jackson. And when you look at what Greg Roman has done when he's coached like dual threat quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson in the past, such as guys like Colin Kaepernick and Tyrod Taylor, a lot of those guys really peaked in their second year under Greg Roman. So when you look at Greg Roman, with the fact that he's going to have another year with Lamar Jackson, that votes well for this Baltimore Ravens offense. So, I mean, I don't know what people really think when it comes to in terms of this Baltimore Ravens offense having like a significant drop-off. Like, are they going to have the best offense in the NFL again this year? Probably not, but would they have a top 3 offense? I think that's probably likely. Would they have a top 5 offense? I think that's extremely likely. But the fact that people don't think the Ravens will have a top 10 offense this season really surprises me, and it kind of confuses me, because this is a team that offensively, their biggest loss was probably losing offensive lineman Marshall Yonder to retirement, and they got rid of Hayden Hurst, but Hayden Hurst really was like the backup tight end behind Mark Andrews. So really, this is a Baltimore Ravens offense that is the exact same offense from last season, with the exact same coordinators and the exact same offensive coordinator calling plays this year. So when you talk about this offense, it all starts with Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson last year was NFL MVP, had 3,127 passing yards. He led the NFL in passing touchdowns with 36, had 6 interceptions while completing 66% of his passes, and he also had 1,200 rushing yards, 7 touchdowns. And, I mean, he was just a true dual-threat quarterback. Like, a lot of people didn't know how to stop Lamar Jackson until the Ravens got into the playoffs against the Tennessee Titans. And then that goes to my next point. A lot of people think that the Tennessee Titans gave the NFL the game plan of how to stop this Baltimore Ravens offense. Listen, just because you can watch film all off-season, and you can game plan, you can strategize for how to stop Lamar Jackson's Baltimore Ravens offense, but as the old saying goes, everybody has a plan until that plan doesn't work. And just because the Tennessee Titans were able to stop Lamar Jackson, just because the Chargers were able to stop Lamar Jackson in the playoffs a couple of seasons back, doesn't mean every team is going to be able to replicate that, because not every team is going to have the roster or the team equipped enough to stop this Baltimore Ravens offense. Because when you look at this Baltimore Ravens offense, it's based on speed and physicality, and a lot of those teams don't really have a lot of depth on the defensive line to rotate guys in and out to keep guys fresh, and a lot of the teams don't have speed on the edge to try to stop Lamar Jackson. So when you look at the Tennessee Titans had both of those. The LA Chargers had both of those, but teams like the New England Patriots are always going into their matchups more prepared and better coach than the majority of any teams that they face. When they faced that Baltimore Ravens offense last season, Bill Belichick, one of the greatest defensive minds in NFL history, had no answer for it. And the reason why wasn't because they didn't have a great game plan. Like, do you think New England went into that game against Baltimore unprepared? No, they were pretty prepared. The thing with New England is just that they just did not have the team on defense to stop that Baltimore Ravens offense. So for all you guys are going to come on here and say that this Baltimore Ravens offense is going to be figured out and defensive coordinators are going to learn how to stop Lamar Jackson, that's not going to be true. And then a lot of people act like Lamar Jackson is just going to be the same quarterback that he was last season. Lamar Jackson, believe it or not, is going to be better than what he was in his MVP season. And when you look at it, when Lamar Jackson won a Heisman Trophy back in college football with Louisville, the year after he won a Heisman Trophy, he followed that season up with an even better season. So Lamar Jackson is a guy that constantly improves at a very rapid and fast rate, especially under Greg Roman, who knows how to utilize quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson to get the best out of those guys. So the thing with Lamar Jackson is, the question isn't going to be how to stop him. The question is going to be, how can you contain him? That's the question that everybody should be asking, because listen, Lamar Jackson's peak wasn't just in 2019. Lamar Jackson has a much higher ceiling than what we saw in 2019. Expect Lamar Jackson to be a way better passer than what he was in 2019 and 2020. And that's even scary to think about that, because this is a guy with Lamar Jackson that completed 66% of his passes last season. So the question is, how better can Lamar Jackson get? And the question is, we don't know how good Lamar Jackson is going to get. We just know that Lamar Jackson is going to continue to grow and get better as long as Greg Roman stays as the OC for the Baltimore Ravens. Now you got to look at this group of halfbacks. Now you got Mark Ingram, who rushed for 1,018 rushing yards last year, 10 touchdowns, and was averaging 5 yards per carry. Then you got J.K. Dobbins, the rookie out of Ohio State, who is basically Mark Ingram reincarnated, Mark Ingram 2.0. They're basically the same identical player. Great balance, physical freaks, very hard to bring down on initial contact. Then you got Gus Edwards and you got Justice Hill, I expect to see a little bit more out of Justice Hill this season as the Ravens kind of find more ways to get him involved in the offense this season. Now you got the wide receiver position. The wide receiver position is pretty much the biggest question mark for the Baltimore Ravens heading into this season, because they don't really have a elite number one option. They're banking on Marquise Brown to become that number one target, and I think Marquise Brown has potential to have a breakout season for the Ravens this year, and he potentially could be what Tyreek Hill is with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, last season, Hollywood Brown had 584 receiving yards, 46 receptions, and 7 touchdowns. Now, he did get banged up in a couple of games, but overall, if Marquise Brown stays healthy, I think he could end up being a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver for the Ravens this year, and he probably could have 200 receiving yards. Then you also got Willie Snead, you got Miles Boykin, who is a guy that I'm really high on, and you got Devin Duvernay, the rookie that a lot of Baltimore Ravens fans are really high on as well. And then you got Mark Andrews, who is one of the top 5 best tight ends in the NFL, and Nick Boyle at your tight end position. So, I mean, the biggest question for Baltimore is going to be, how good are these receivers going to be? Because like we saw last season against Seattle and we saw against the Tennessee Titans, when the Ravens really had to rely on the receivers to make some clutch catches, they really were not able to come up. Like we saw a lot of drops against Seattle. Although they won that game for Seattle, it was a lot of drops. And Tennessee, the drops finally came back and haunted them. They had a lot of drops there in that playoff game versus Tennessee, which was the big reason why they lost that game as well. So, I mean, the receiving core is pretty much my biggest concern about the Baltimore Ravens going into this 2020 NFL season. But ultimately, I don't really think that the wide receiver position is going to hold them back. I think a lot of those guys last season, you got to remember that a lot of those guys were very young and they were rookies. So I'm expecting a lot of those guys to come into year 2 a lot better, a lot improved, and hopefully they get on the jug machine during training camp and improve their hands, and we see a little bit less drops than what we saw in 2019. So overall, this Baltimore Ravens offense, in my opinion, is still going to be the best offense in the NFL in 2020. Now, are they going to have the number one offense? I don't think so, but I think they probably will still have a top 5 offense, because this is a very unique offense, and Greg Roman's probably going to have some new wrinkles. He's probably going to drop more on the playbook to Lamar Jackson, and Lamar Jackson is going to be a way better passer than what he was in 2019. And the scary thing is that Lamar Jackson last season is just going to be better this year than what he was in 2019. So, I mean, if you thought Lamar Jackson was unstoppable in 2019, you got another thing coming. So, overall, I think this is a Baltimore Ravens offense that a lot of people really, if you keep saying, like, you really can't, the reason why a lot of people say the Ravens offense is going to be all that great is because they keep predicting Lamar Jackson to get injured. Like, it doesn't make no sense. Like, if you're going to say a team's offense isn't going to be good, don't base it based on injuries, because basing your whole entire argument on why this Ravens offense won't be good because Lamar Jackson isn't going to stay healthy isn't really a great argument, because since Lamar Jackson has been in the NFL, he's never missed a game due to injury. He never missed a game in college due to injury. So why would he start the missed games due to injury now? Now, given his play style is a little bit rough, it is a little bit aggressive, he does take a good amount of hits, but I think Lamar Jackson, as he continues to improve as a passer, we're going to start seeing Lamar Jackson do a little bit more in the pocket, stepping up and making things happen in the pocket instead of being quick to, go through his progressions 1, 2, and get out of there. I think we're going to see Lamar Jackson have better pocket presence in the pocket than what we saw in 2019. And with him getting better and more comfortable in the pocket, that's probably going to lead to him being more prone to running with the football unless things really break down and nobody gets open. He absolutely has to. But I think this Ravens offense is going to continue to pick up where they left off last season, and this will be one of the best offenses in the NFL this upcoming NFL season. So let me know what you guys think about the Baltimore Ravens offense down in the comment section down below. Make sure that you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content, and thanks for watching.